This is KGW News at Sunrise.
It's the only consumer product in the United States that is constitutionally protected in terms of being able to actually consume it.
The recent school shooting in Texas is fueling many sides of the gun violence debate. We're going to get perspective from a psychologist and a marketing expert to see just how deep the issue is in Oregon. And if you have something planned for this Memorial Day, like maybe a later afternoon barbecue or you went camping, we have some advice from local outdoors experts on how to stay safe with the environment in mind. That's coming up. And we are taking you out live this morning. Photographer Nick on duty for us today down at Pioneer Square, showing us the American flag flying down there in Portland's living room. Of course, we are commemorating Memorial Day at different locations throughout the metro area during sunrise this morning. Happy Monday. Good morning. Thank you for waking up early with us. Rod and I holding down the fort while the rest of the gang has the day off. And today it's going to get drier.
Better. Yes, today's better. We're only around 60 both days over the weekend. So today, if we get some decent sunshine and it's drier, that should at least get us up in the mid-60s. Small hopes here, Nina. Small hopes.
Yes, we'll take it. It's okay.
Here's a look at the radar. And the scattered shower machine is still going. This is all light stuff being reported at the shower. We have snow as low as 4,000 feet up into the Cascades. Cloudy skies over the city. We're sitting at 50 degrees temperature-wise. So here we go. Showers out there right now. This is a day that the shower chances gets less and less as we make it through. And at some point this afternoon, I think the showers will shut off. 57 at noon. Later today, it really ought to be dry, partly cloudy, and there's that nice, pleasant 66 degrees. Back to you.
Not bad. All right, Rod, thank you. President Biden on Sunday visited the memorial outside of Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas, the scene of a mass shooting that killed 19 students and 2 teachers last Tuesday. This weekend, the Department of Justice saying it will look into law enforcement's response to the shooting. The DOJ says it's intended to provide a fair, transparent, and independent account of what happened that day. The shooting is sparking broader conversations about gun violence and gun control all across the country. Devin Haskins talked with 2 people with expertise on this in very different ways.
This year alone, there have been more than 200 mass shootings in the United States where 4 or more people have been shot. And no part of the country, even here in the Northwest, has been immune from experiencing the violence firsthand.
We now know, even if we only look at the mass shootings that have been covered by the popular press, we know that they happen in every community.
Doreen Dodgen McGee is a Portland psychologist whose outpatient practice deals with coping with grief. And as these shootings continue, the impact, she says, reaches deep into our community.
I think it's probably pretty difficult anymore for people to be able to say they don't know someone who has been impacted by gun violence. As those numbers rise in our country.
Taking a look at the gun violence through a different lens is Oregon State University Associate Professor of Marketing, Michelle Barnhart.
It's the only consumer product in the United States that is constitutionally protected in terms of being able to actually consume it.
She and a colleague have studied the gun violence issue from a marketing perspective for the last 6 years, with topics that include talking with gun owners about carrying or owning, how much people understand the Second Amendment, and the various marketing efforts of gun violence prevention groups.
Groups that were working towards just changing consumer behaviors. So educational programs to try to encourage people to store their guns properly, or kind of the see something, say something kinds of programs to try to identify threats before they turn into disasters.
But as we have seen in the last few weeks, those disasters do happen. Dodson McGee says when it comes to dealing with the stress from it all, she says it's okay to disconnect.
Learning some deep breathing techniques, things like learning to pause even after we hear a big news story. And instead of then just binging on all the details we can find about that story, taking a pause and coming back into ourselves, figuring out what we need to be able to kind of stay okay.
Devin Haskins, KGW News.
Well, it's not just President Biden and politicians making stops in Uvalde. People from all over the country have showed up to remember the victims. Tiffany Leo with our sister station Houston takes us there.
These are times when it feels impossible to find strength.
The pain will never stop.
In reflection. Because no matter the answers, it can't bring them back.
Some wishes like that we can't wish for.
19 children and 2 teachers were murdered at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde on Tuesday.
We cannot protect them every single minute of the day. You know, it's very hard. It's very hard.
The victims' names are each written on a wooden cross, 21 displayed for the public to flood with candles, flowers, toys, balloons.
We shouldn't have to tell our kids to worry about something like this.
Danny Rangel drove from a neighboring city and walked from cross to cross, finding reflection in the form of prayer.
We're praying for each and every one of y'all. We are praying for your kids, be it a niece, be it a nephew, be it a daughter, be it a son. We're praying.
Whether a comforting melody of united voices or the hands of children coloring light to a darkness laid upon the city, people have their own ways of grieving and supporting and trying to understand why. As much as these 21 shouldn't be another name on the list of mass shooting victims, they are. F.A.O. Bayagbona is too.
Who's gonna be the next person?
Shot 3 times in the 2019 Midland, Odessa mass shooting, he was one of the lucky ones who survived.
It's so crazy. It killed 7 people, injured 21 of us.
F.A. was compelled to drive 3 hours to Uvalde.
My heart is broken. Drove all the way from Austin to just come show my love.
Because in these moments when it feels impossible to find strength, to reflect is to not forget.
We cannot forget them. We can't forget them.
In Uvalde, I'm Tiffany Liu.
But speaking with this law,
there are a number of ways you can help families who've lost loved ones there. We have more details in this article on KGW.com. Just look for the featured section of our homepage. Getting you caught up on some other headlines this morning, we start with a busy weekend for Portland police. And take a look at this map. You'll see why. Police say within a 24-hour period starting Friday morning, at least 10 people were shot in 10 shootings around the city. We have a more detailed timeline on KGW.com, but Portland police say it is spread thin, and calls like this are taking away their ability to respond to other emergencies. Anyone with information is asked to contact police. The Cowlitz Native American tribe of Southwest Washington says its general council chairman, David Barnett, died suddenly Saturday of an apparent heart attack. Barnett served as the leader of the Cowlitz Indian tribe since he was elected there in June of last year. The USS Oregon, now officially part of the Navy fleet. The commissioning ceremony happened Saturday at the U.S. submarine base in Groton, Connecticut, and included a speech from Governor Kate Brown. It's the first submarine named after the state in more than a century and is designed to conduct missions for everything from anti-sub warfare to intelligence and surveillance. And those are a few of your morning headlines. Pretty cool.
Hot diggity dog, we got ourselves a submarine.
It's way over on the East Coast,
right?
but yeah.
Yeah, it's got our name on it. So a better day, I think, today than what we saw over the weekend, but there are showers out there.
Yeah.
And while I think eventually they end, it's really anybody's guess.
I'm looking toward mid this week because things are warming up.
On Wednesday, which I think the warmest we've been so far was 76, and that was a week ago yesterday when we did that. Here's a look at a sky show potentially. We're going to have more on this coming up in the show in the 5:30 half hour, I'm told. But the funny thing about this is that NASA's not positive it's going to happen, but if it does happen, they say, wow, what a show. And this is a possible meteor shower for you tonight and tomorrow night. Skies here locally will be partly cloudy. The moon's phase is new, meaning there's no moonlight, so the sky would be beautifully dark. And NASA says if this in fact materializes, that we could get 1,000 an hour. So they think it's either, gosh, we missed it, or wow, it's one of the more spectacular meteor showers of recent memory. So take a moment, step outside later tonight. They say the best viewing both nights will be around midnight or shortly after. Hey, there's a big gap out here. It's what Nina was talking about. There's a gap. We think we have dry weather starting tonight that goes all the way through Thursday morning. And, you know, in terms of our local weather this spring, that's a fairly sizable gap, right? And we will get some warming temperatures out of that. Right now, though, we have the snow showers in the Blue Mountains out east. We have snow down to 4,000 feet in the Cascades, so it's still a chilly batch of air. And that's one of the reasons we've had so many days with at least some rains. We just have been locked underneath these unseasonably cold air masses aloft. And that just keeps you unstable enough that you get rising airflow and you get showers developing. And we're going to have that again, at least the first part of today. Here we are at 11 o'clock this morning. Futurecast really shows the scattered shower activity, albeit mostly light, still coming. I think this afternoon the rain chance really starts to taper off, and you'll notice I think a lot of the area has a chance to be dry this afternoon, but there will be a shower chance lingering. Here we are at 3 this afternoon, and then finally we get into the evening and it's totally gone. Mostly cloudy skies from our Cannon Beach live camera right now, 49 degrees there. Here's Stoller Family Vineyards Estate live cam, 44. So it is a cool start for this time of the year. PDX is down to 50. Bend, folks on vacation over there are waking up to freezing temperatures, 32 degrees. We will be up into the low to mid 60s this afternoon. Winds will be light, northwest 5 to 10, similar numbers up through southwest Washington. There's the warm up, 76 tomorrow, possibly 80 on Wednesday, a shower chance Thursday afternoon. Then after that, we certainly will be getting back into rain. Next weekend looks kind of wet, but if you like warmer weather,
Wednesday is our day. Got it. All right, Rod, thank you. Well, Memorial Day weekend marks the unofficial start of the summer recreation season, but some areas still experiencing winter-like conditions and, of course, seeing the effects of past wildfires. Christelle Kumwe has more on how to be prepared.
We know that folks have suffered through, a long, wet winter in a lot of the Pacific Northwest, and they're ready to get out there.
While many campgrounds are open, including some with first-come, first-served camping opportunities, Catherine Caruso with the Forest Service Pacific Northwest region has some advice.
Really have a plan and plan ahead.
She says holiday weekends are extremely busy.
If you're not able to get a campsite or the campsite you're looking for, you know what? There's a lot of great opportunities for day trips on the forest too this year.
But those who do find a spot should know,
just because an area is reopened to access doesn't mean that it's safe.
More than 500,000 acres of forests and grasslands burned across Washington and Oregon in 2020 and 2021. Caruso says areas in and below recently burned areas are at increased risk of falling trees, rocks, landslides, flash floods, and hidden ash pits for up to a decade after a fire.
It's really never safe. We really want people to be informed about risks and make informed decisions about risks before they head out.
But it's always a good idea to look around, especially if you're backcountry camping.
Over at the Mount Hood National Forest, late season snowfall made for delays in several campgrounds.
We had heavy, pretty good snowfall in April and May. It means the snowpack for Mount Hood area is back really well above average.
The opening of higher elevation campgrounds, including Trillium Lake, Frog Lake, and Steel Creek, is delayed by a couple of weeks because of the late winter. Where rivers and lakes are fed by snowmelt, the waters are exceptionally cold, increasing risks for recreation activities in and around water. So wherever you decide to be this season, Forest Service officials want you to keep this in mind.
Please, please, please know before you go. Take some time to get educated about the area you plan to visit.
Well, the Blazers and the Seahawks look like they're headed to the auction block, and that's got a lot of people asking, what could happen to the Blazers? We're going to talk with sports writer John Canzano. Part of that conversation is up next.